A millionaire gave up everything for a poor woman, and her love changed him forever. In the bustling city of New York, life moved fast and people moved faster. Amid the glimmering skyscrapers and the hum of wealth and ambition, there existed two very different worlds. One belonged to Liam Carter, a self-made millionaire who had built his fortune through sheer determination. His life was defined by power, luxury, and influence. The other belonged to Clara Hayes, a humble woman whose days were spent working multiple jobs just to make ends meet. Her world was simple, yet it brimmed with quiet strength and resilience. Liam had always been a man of logic. He didn't believe in fairy tales or sentimental dreams. To him, success was the only measure of a man's worth, and his achievements were his armor against the world. But beneath the polished surface of his life, Liam carried a weight of loneliness. His wealth had bought him many things, but love and genuine connection were not among them. Clara, on the other hand, had little in material wealth, but an abundance of warmth. Despite the hardships of her life, she believed in the power of kindness and the beauty of simple joys. She spent her free time helping at a local community center, where she brought light to others struggling with their own challenges. Clara had her share of scars, but she refused to let the world harden her heart. Their worlds collided on a rainy evening, one that would change both of their lives forever. Liam, rushing through the city after a long day of meetings, found himself stranded when his car broke down in the middle of a crowded street. With no umbrella and a storm pouring down, he cursed his luck. It was then that Clara, walking home from the community center with a worn umbrella in hand, noticed him. Without hesitation, she approached him. "You look like you could use some help," she said, offering him her umbrella. Liam was taken aback by her gesture. It wasn't often that strangers showed kindness without expecting anything in return. He reluctantly accepted, and as they walked together, he found himself drawn to her easy smile and genuine warmth. What began as a chance encounter turned into something more when Liam found himself visiting the community center weeks later. Curious about the woman who had shown him kindness on that rainy night, he learned about her life and her dedication to helping others. Her selflessness and strength stood in stark contrast to the cold, transactional world he knew. At first, Liam's visits were motivated by intrigue, but the more he got to know Clara, the more he began to question the values he had built his life around. For the first time, he saw the emptiness in his wealth and the hollowness of his success. Clara, without even realizing it, was showing him a different way to live, a way that prioritized connection and compassion over material gain. So instead of seeing what life had to offer, Clara made a decision that prioritized connection and compassion over material gain. Clara, too, found herself opening up to Liam. Though she was cautious about letting someone so different from her into her life, she couldn't deny the sincerity in his efforts to understand her world. He volunteered at the community center, listened to the struggles of those around him, and began to see the impact of small acts of kindness. Clara watched as the man who had seemed so untouchable began to shed his guarded exterior. As their bond grew, Liam faced resistance from his circle of friends and business associates. They couldn't understand why he would spend his time with someone like Clara, a woman who had nothing to offer in terms of wealth or status. But Liam found himself caring less and less about their opinions. Clara had shown him a depth of love and humanity he had never experienced before, and he wasn't willing to let it go. Yet, even as their connection deepened, the differences in their worlds threatened to pull them apart. Liam struggled to reconcile his feelings for Clara with the expectations placed upon him, and Clara, aware of the scrutiny their relationship faced, wondered if she could ever truly belong in his world. But love, as they would come to learn, had a way of breaking down even the highest walls. Liam couldn't ignore the spark Clara had ignited in his life. It wasn't just her kindness that captivated him. It was her unwavering resilience, Clara's ability to find joy in the smallest moments, and her determination to help others inspired him in ways he didn't think possible. But as the days turned into weeks, Liam's new perspective began to clash with the reality of his high-powered life. The night came when Liam decided to introduce Clara to his world. He invited her to a charity gala he was hosting, a grand event that was as much about flaunting wealth as it was about raising funds. Clara hesitated, unsure if she could fit into such an environment. She wasn't used to the glitz and glamour of the wealthy, and the idea of being scrutinized by Liam's peers made her uneasy. But Liam reassured her, his eyes filled with an earnestness she couldn't resist. "You belong there as much as anyone else," he said. Reluctantly, Clara agreed. The evening of the gala arrived, and Clara stepped into the venue in a simple but elegant dress Liam had gifted her. She looked breathtaking, but her nervousness was evident. As they entered the opulent hall, heads turned, and whispers began to ripple through the crowd. Liam, ever the confident businessman, paid no mind to the murmurs. He introduced Clara as his guest, holding her hand as if to silently convey that she was someone who mattered deeply to him. Despite Liam's efforts to make her feel comfortable, Clara couldn't shake the feeling of being out of place. The guests, with their designer gowns and sharp suits, cast judgmental glances her way. She overheard snippets of their conversations, whispers about her being just a charity case or a passing fascination. One particularly cutting remark came from a woman named Victoria, a former flame of Liam's and a socialite with a knack for making others feel small. "She's charming in a quaint way," Victoria said to a group of onlookers, loud enough for Clara to hear. "But let's be honest, she doesn't belong in this world." Clara felt her cheeks flush with embarrassment, but she swallowed her discomfort, reminding herself why she was there. She looked at Liam, who was busy discussing business with a group of investors, and resolved not to let the harsh words get to her. As the evening went on, Clara found solace in a small corner of the hall, away from the prying eyes. That's when she met an elderly couple who had been watching her from afar. They introduced themselves as Mr. and Mrs. Whitaker, longtime philanthropists who admired Liam's work. To Clara's surprise, they treated her with genuine warmth. "Don't let them get to you, dear," Mrs. Whitaker said with a kind smile. "This world can be cruel, but it's not where you come from that matters. It's what you bring to the table, and I can see you bring a lot more than most of these people ever could." Their words comforted Clara, giving her the strength to face the rest of the evening. She decided to focus on the cause behind the gala rather than the judgmental stares. As the night wore on, she mingled with a few guests who were genuinely interested in her perspective, surprising herself with how much she had to offer. Liam, meanwhile, noticed the shift in Clara's demeanor. He admired her ability to hold her own despite the challenges. When the event concluded, he took her hand and led her outside to the garden, away from the crowd. "I'm sorry for putting you through that," he said, his voice tinged with regret. I thought bringing you here would show them how incredible you are, but I should have known better." Clara shook her head. "You don't need to apologize, Liam. Tonight wasn't easy, but it taught me something important. I don't need to prove myself to anyone, and neither do you." Her words struck a chord with Liam. He realized how much he had been shaped by the expectations of others, always striving to maintain an image of perfection. But Clara didn't care about his wealth or status. She cared about him, the man beneath the suit, with all his flaws and vulnerabilities. As they stood under the starlit sky, Liam made a decision. He didn't want to live a life dictated by societal expectations any longer. He wanted to build a life with Clara, a life defined by love, compassion, and authenticity. The next day, Liam shocked his inner circle by announcing his withdrawal from several high-profile business ventures. He explained that he wanted to focus on projects that aligned with his newfound values, including expanding the reach of the community center Clara had dedicated her life to. While many saw this as a reckless move, Clara understood it was a testament to Liam's transformation. He was no longer the cold, calculating businessman she had first met. He was a man willing to risk everything for what truly mattered. Their relationship deepened as they worked together to make a difference. Liam used his resources to uplift the lives of others, while Clara continued to inspire him with her unwavering kindness. They faced challenges, but their love grew stronger with each passing day, proving that even the most unlikely pair could find happiness together. Months passed, and Liam and Clara's partnership became a beacon of hope for those who had lost faith in the power of change. Together, they turned the once-neglected community center into a thriving hub for education, training, and support. The transformation was nothing short of miraculous, with children finding safe spaces to learn and families gaining access to resources they desperately needed. But as their work flourished, so did their bond. Liam found himself drawn to Clara in ways he had never experienced before. Her laughter became the highlight of his days, her quiet strength his anchor in moments of doubt. Clara, too, found herself falling deeper for Liam. Beneath his polished exterior was a man with a heart bigger than she had ever imagined. Despite their growing closeness, Clara couldn't shake her insecurities. She worried that Liam's affluent world would always see her as an outsider, someone who didn't belong. While Liam assured her otherwise, the whispers of those who doubted their relationship lingered in her mind. One evening, as they walked through the vibrant gardens of Liam's estate, Clara voiced her concerns. "Sometimes I wonder if I'm holding you back," she said softly. "You've given up so much, and I'm afraid people will never see us as equals." Liam stopped and turned to face her, his eyes filled with determination. "Clara, you've given me more than I could ever repay. You've shown me what it means to truly live. I don't care what anyone thinks. You're my equal, my partner, and the reason I've become the man I am today." His words brought tears to Clara's eyes, but they also brought a sense of peace. For the first time, she allowed herself to believe that their love could withstand the scrutiny of the world. As the relationship deepened, Liam decided to take the next step. He wanted to propose, but he knew that a grand gesture wasn't Clara's style. Instead, he planned something simple and heartfelt. On a quiet afternoon, Liam took Clara to a secluded spot by the lake near his estate, a place they often visited to escape the noise of the world. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting golden hues across the water, Liam knelt before her. "Clara?" he began, his voice steady but filled with emotion. "You've changed my life in ways I never thought possible. You've shown me the beauty in simplicity, the strength in kindness, and the power of love. I can't imagine a future without you. Will you do me the honor of being my wife?" Clara's breath caught in her throat as tears streamed down her cheeks. She nodded, unable to find the words to express the overwhelming joy she felt. "Yes," she finally managed, her voice barely above a whisper. Their engagement marked a new chapter in their lives, one filled with hope and the promise of a love that could withstand any challenge. But their journey wasn't without its hurdles. As news of their engagement spread, so did the backlash from Liam's former associates and social circles. Articles surfaced questioning Clara's intentions, accusing her of being a gold digger. While Clara tried to ignore the negativity, Liam grew increasingly protective. One evening, after a particularly harsh headline, Liam confronted the issue head-on. "We can't let them dictate our happiness," he said firmly. "Our love is stronger than their doubts." Clara nodded, drawing strength from his words. Together, they decided to address the criticisms not with anger, but with action. They continued their work at the community center, allowing their love and commitment to each other and their cause to speak louder than any headline. The months leading up to their wedding were a whirlwind of preparation and challenges, but through it all, Clara and Liam remained unwavering in their love. Their journey, marked by sacrifice and transformation, became a testament to the idea that love could truly conquer all. The day of the wedding finally arrived, a day that felt like a culmination of their extraordinary journey. Liam and Clara chose to hold the ceremony at the very community center they had rebuilt together. It was a place that symbolized their shared mission, their struggles, and the deep love that had grown between them. The space was transformed with simple but elegant decorations, reflecting Clara's modest nature and Liam's newfound appreciation for meaningful gestures. Instead of an exclusive guest list filled with the elite, the attendees were the people whose lives they had touched. Families from the community, children who had found a second chance, and volunteers who had become like family. As Clara stood in front of the mirror in a dress gifted by one of the women from the community, she couldn't help but feel a wave of emotion. The dress wasn't extravagant, but it was beautiful in its simplicity, just like her journey. Her heart swelled with gratitude for the life she had now, so different from the one she had once known. When Clara walked down the aisle, the entire room seemed to hold its breath. Liam stood at the end, his eyes fixed on her, filled with admiration and love. In that moment, the world and its doubts melted away. It was just the two of them, two hearts that had found each other despite the odds. As they exchanged their vows, Liam's voice trembled with emotion. He spoke of how Clara had changed him, how her love had shown him a life richer than any fortune. Clara, in turn, promised to stand by him, to continue building the life they had dreamed of together. Their kiss sealed not just their marriage, but a bond forged through hardship, resilience, and love. The room erupted in applause, the cheers of people who had witnessed not just a wedding, but a love story that had inspired them all. The reception was filled with laughter, heartfelt speeches, and moments of reflection. It wasn't the grandeur of the event that made it memorable, but the genuine joy that radiated from everyone present. Clara and Liam danced under strings of lights, their smiles brighter than the stars above. As the night wore on, Liam took Clara's hand and led her outside to a quiet spot beneath an old oak tree. He pulled her close, his voice soft but firm. "This is just the beginning, Clara. I don't need wealth or status. All I need is you." Clara rested her head against his chest, her heart full. "And I'll always be here, Liam. Together we'll create a life worth more than any treasure." In the years that followed, their story became a beacon of hope for many. Together they continued their mission, building more community centers, offering opportunities to those in need, and proving that love could transform not just individuals, but entire communities. Liam never regretted leaving behind his old life. With Clara by his side, he discovered that true wealth wasn't measured in possessions, but in the love and connections he had found. Clara, too, realized that her past didn't define her, but rather, it had prepared her for the extraordinary life she now lived. Their journey wasn't perfect, life rarely is, but it was theirs, and as they grew old together, hand in hand, they knew they had found something far greater than riches, a love that had truly changed everything. As the years went by, Liam and Clara's bond only grew stronger. Their life was filled with purpose and fulfillment as they poured their hearts into transforming communities and touching lives. What began as one small community center blossomed into a movement, with several centers established across the country. Each center was a testament to their unwavering commitment to providing opportunities for the underprivileged, just as Clara had once dreamed of doing. Their love story became the inspiration behind it all, and soon, their journey captured the attention of media outlets. Headlines changed from skepticism to admiration, describing Liam and Clara as the couple who redefined what it meant to be truly wealthy. Interviews and documentaries celebrated their work, but Clara always stayed grounded. She often reminded Liam, and herself, that the true purpose wasn't recognition, it was making a difference. Despite their growing influence, they'd never lost sight of what mattered most: each other. Liam made it a point to prioritize time together, often planning simple moments away from the spotlight. They'd take long walks through the gardens, cook together in the kitchen, or sit by the fireplace sharing stories. It was in these quiet moments that they found the peace and joy that fueled their love. But life, as always, came with challenges. Balancing their growing responsibilities with their personal life wasn't always easy. There were late nights, disagreements, and moments of exhaustion. Yet, through it all, Liam and Clara remained each other's anchor. Whenever doubts crept in, they reminded each other of how far they had come and the strength of their love. One particularly stormy evening, Clara found herself reflecting on their journey. As the rain poured outside, she sat by the window, watching the droplets streak down the glass. Liam entered the room, his presence immediately bringing warmth. "What's on your mind?" he asked, sitting beside her. Clara hesitated before speaking. "I was just thinking about how different life is now. Sometimes it feels like a dream I'm afraid to wake up from." Liam took her hand in his voice steady and reassuring. "It's not a dream, Clara. It's our reality, and we built it together. No matter what comes next, as long as we're together, we'll face it head on." "Yes." His words brought a sense of comfort, as they always did. Clara leaned against him, her heart swelling with gratitude for the man who had become her partner in every sense of the word. As time went on, they started a family of their own. The birth of their first child, a baby girl named Leela, brought a new kind of joy into their lives. Liam and Clara embraced parenthood with the same love and dedication they had for their work. They wanted Leela to grow up understanding the values of compassion, humility, and the importance of giving back. Leela became a bright and curious child, taking after both her parents. She often accompanied them to the community centers, learning firsthand the impact of their efforts. Her laughter filled the halls, and her presence reminded everyone that the future they were building was for children like her, a future filled with hope and opportunity. Even as their family grew, Liam and Clara remained deeply connected. They supported each other through the highs and lows, celebrating victories and comforting each other in moments of doubt. Their love continued to evolve, deepening with each passing year. One day, as they stood together on the balcony of their home looking out at the sunset, Liam turned to Clara. "Do you realize how much we've accomplished? Not just in our work, but in us. We've built a life I never thought possible." Clara smiled, her eyes shining with affection. "And to think it all started with a chance meeting, a moment I thought was nothing more than a coincidence." Liam shook his head, his gaze unwavering. "It wasn't a coincidence, Clara. It was fate. You were meant to walk into my life and turn it upside down in the best way possible." Their hands intertwined as they stood there, basking in the glow of the setting sun. In that moment, they knew that their journey was far from over. Together, they would continue to write the story of their lives, one filled with love, resilience, and an unwavering belief in the power of kindness. As the years passed, Liam and Clara's story became a legend in their community. People spoke of how a millionaire and a poor woman found love against all odds and used their union to transform lives. Their legacy was cemented, not just through their work, but also through the countless individuals they had inspired. Lila, now a teenager, embodied the very values her parents cherished. She often spoke about wanting to continue their mission to ensure that their efforts would never fade. Liam and Clara felt immense pride as they watched their daughter grow into a compassionate and driven young woman. One summer evening, the family gathered for a celebration. It marked the 10th anniversary of the first community center they had opened. The event was held in the same hall where Liam and Clara had danced on the night of their first fundraiser. The atmosphere was filled with warmth and joy, with families, children, and supporters coming together to honor the milestone. As Clara stood on stage to address the crowd, her heart swelled with emotion. She spoke about their journey, the challenges they had faced, and the love that had carried them through. Her words resonated deeply, leaving many in tears. Liam joined her on stage, taking her hand and addressing the crowd with his own heartfelt words. "None of this would have been possible without Clara," he began, his voice steady and full of gratitude. She taught me that true wealth isn't measured by what you have, but by what you give. She opened my heart and showed me a world I had been blind to. For that, I will always be grateful. The applause that followed was thunderous, a testament to the impact they had made. But for Liam and Clara, the real reward was the faces of the people whose lives had changed because of their work. As the night came to an end, the family sat together under the stars. Lila, now old enough to understand the depth of her parents' story, asked a question that had been on her mind. "Mom, Dad, did you ever imagine things would turn out this way?" Clara smiled softly. "Never. But that's the beauty of life, isn't it? It surprises you in the best ways when you least expect it." Liam nodded, his eyes fixed on the stars. "I used to think I had everything, but I didn't. Meeting your mom changed that. She taught me what it means to live a life of purpose. And you, Lila, have given us even more to live for." The family sat in silence for a moment, each of them reflecting on the journey that had brought them here. The stars above seemed to shine a little brighter, as if acknowledging the love and resilience that defined their lives. As the years continued to pass, Liam and Clara remained steadfast in their mission. They expanded their efforts globally, creating opportunities for those in need far beyond their community. Their work inspired others to join the cause, creating a ripple effect that reached places they had never dreamed of. Yet, despite their growing influence, they always made time for the simple joys of life. Whether it was a quiet dinner at home, a walk through the countryside, or an afternoon spent laughing with Lila, they cherished the moments that truly mattered. In their old age, Liam and Clara found themselves sitting on the same porch where they had shared so many dreams. Their hair was streaked with silver and their faces bore the lines of a life well lived. But their love remained as vibrant as ever, a testament to the bond they had built. One day, as they watched Lila take the stage at a global summit to speak about their mission, Clara turned to Liam with tears in her eyes. "She's everything we dreamed she'd be. We've done well, haven't we?" Liam placed his hand over hers, his voice filled with pride. "We have, Clara. And it's all because of you. You changed my life, and together we've changed so many more." Their story came full circle that day, as they watched their daughter carry forward the legacy they had built. It was a legacy of love, compassion, and unwavering belief in the power of kindness. In every place she visited, Emily saw the same transformation she had witnessed at home. People who had been denied opportunities in life now had a chance to break free from their circumstances. Teachers and mentors who cared for these children helped them realize their potential, just as Clara had done for Emily herself when she was growing up. Emily often found herself reflecting on her mother's words. "The only way to change the world is to believe in it, and believe in the people in it." Back at the community center, Thomas continued his work with medical missions, but his role had expanded to include mental health initiatives. The need for emotional support had grown significantly, and with Clara's guidance, Thomas had trained teams to provide counseling services to those struggling with anxiety, depression, and trauma, and ensure that we have trusted successors who will continue to keep the program in running. One of the most moving parts of Thomas's work was the healing retreats they organized. These retreats brought together people from different walks of life, each of them carrying their own burden. The retreat allowed them to connect with others who had faced similar struggles and to begin the process of healing together. It was here that people truly understood the depth of Clara's vision, that healing wasn't just about physical health, but emotional and spiritual well-being as well. One particular retreat stood out to Clara and Liam. A young woman named Sophie, only in her early 20s, had come to the retreat struggling with severe depression. She had lost both of her parents in a tragic accident and had nowhere to turn. Sophie felt like she had no future left, no reason to keep going. But as she sat in one of the group sessions, surrounded by strangers who had also experienced loss, something shifted in her. The support, the warmth, and the shared experience of others gave Sophie the strength to begin rebuilding her life. Over the weeks that followed, Sophie became an active part of the community center's counseling program, using her experience to help others who were going through similar struggles. It was a cycle of giving and receiving that had become the very heart of the organization. One day, as Sophie sat with Clara in the center's garden, Sophie spoke softly, her eyes filled with gratitude. "I don't think I would have made it without this place," she said, her voice trembling slightly. "I didn't even know if I wanted to live anymore, but now I know I can get through this. I found purpose here." Clara took Sophie's hands in hers, smiling gently. "You've always had that purpose inside you, Sophie," she said. "You just needed the right people to help you find it. That's what we're here for." As the seasons changed, so did the lives of the people who had been touched by Liam and Clara's work. Every day, the legacy of their love continued to shape the world. The principles of kindness, empathy, and service that had been at the foundation of their own relationship now spread like wildfire, creating a network of support and hope across the globe. But through all of this, there remained one constant: Liam and Clara's unwavering love for each other. Despite all the work they had done, despite the countless lives they had transformed, it was their bond that had started it all. Their love was the spark that had ignited the fire of change, and it remained the bedrock upon which everything else stood. It was on a quiet evening, as they sat together on the porch watching the stars emerge in the sky, that Liam turned to Clara, his eyes reflecting the same warmth they had held all those years ago when they first met. "We've come so far, Clara," Liam said, his voice full of reverence. "But there's still so much more we can do. I never imagined how much our love would change the world. I didn't think I was capable of this, but you made me believe." Clara smiled softly, leaning her head on his shoulder. "You always had the capacity for love, Liam," she whispered. "I just helped you find it." And in that moment, surrounded by the community they had built and the legacy they had forged, Liam knew deep down that this journey was far from over. They had changed countless lives, but the love that had guided them would continue to light the way for others, for generations to come. The years went on, and the legacy of Liam and Clara's love became more than just a movement. It was a way of life for countless individuals who had been touched by their story. People spoke of them not only as a couple who had overcome personal challenges, but as beacons of hope who had changed the course of so many lives. The world they had created was one of compassion, selflessness, and above all, love. The world Liam and Clara had dreamed of was slowly but surely becoming a reality. Their organization, once a small initiative, had grown into a worldwide network of community centers, each one a reflection of the love and care that Clara and Liam had put into their own lives. But the two of them remained humble, always focusing on the impact they could have, rather than the recognition they received. Liam often joked with Clara that the work they had done was their legacy, and that one day their children would be the ones carrying it forward. But Clara always reminded him that their legacy wasn't just about the physical structures they built, but about the hearts and minds they had touched. Their personal life remained just as beautiful as the one they had built for others. They spent quiet evenings together, often talking about the people they had helped and wondering how they could do even more. Clara's eyes still sparkled when Liam looked at her, and the love they shared was as strong as ever. Despite the years of challenges they had faced, it was clear to both of them that everything they had gone through had been worth it. One afternoon, as Liam and Clara sat on the porch watching their children play in the yard, Liam turned to Clara and said, "Do you ever wonder what our lives would have been like if we hadn't met?" Clara smiled softly, her eyes filled with a deep affection. "I don't think I want to know what life would have been like without you," she replied. "I know everything we've done has been a result of our love, and it's a love that will keep growing, always." And with those words, Liam knew that no matter what challenges lay ahead, No matter what obstacles they faced, they would face them together. They had already built a world of change, and that world would only continue to grow, powered by the strength of their bond. Their children, Emily, Thomas, and even young Sophia, had inherited the same values that their parents held so dear. They were dedicated to helping others and following the same path of service and love that Liam and Clara had set for them. Emily had already started a new project that aimed to reduce the barriers to education for children with disabilities, while Thomas continued to expand the medical missions. Sophia, still young but growing rapidly, had already shown a love for storytelling and was working on a project to collect the stories of those who had been helped by the organization. She dreamed of writing a book one day, a tribute to the lives that had been transformed by the work her parents had started. In the meantime, Liam and Clara continued to work side by side, with their love growing deeper as each day passed. They had truly found their purpose together, and they understood that their journey was one that would never truly end. There would always be more work to do, more lives to touch, and more love to give. One evening, as they stood on the edge of the hill that overlooked the community they had built, Liam took Clara's hand in his. "We've done it, haven't we?" he asked, his voice full of wonder. Clara nodded, her heart full of gratitude. "Yes, we've done it, and now it's time for others to take what we've built and make it their own." And as they watched the sun dip below the horizon, casting a golden light over the land that had been transformed by their love, they knew one thing for sure: their journey was far from over. The love they had shared had already changed the world, but it was just the beginning, and together they would continue to create a legacy that would live on for generations. Years passed, and the legacy of Liam and Clara's love became more than just a foundation for their family. It spread throughout the world, an enduring testament to the power of love and sacrifice. People from all walks of life came to their organization, seeking help, finding hope, and most importantly, finding love in a world that often seemed to lack it. What started as a small initiative had blossomed into an empire of compassion, its roots deeply entwined with the shared values that Liam and Clara had instilled. Their children, having inherited their parents' strength and passion for helping others, continued to carry forward the work, each in their own way. Emily had become a powerful voice for children in need, traveling the world to advocate for educational reform, ensuring that every child, no matter their background, had the opportunity to succeed. Thomas, with his natural knack for medicine, had turned his efforts to providing medical assistance in the most underserved areas of the world, where even the smallest acts of kindness saved lives. Sophia, now a young adult, had become the storyteller of the family, weaving the tales of hope and change into words that touched the hearts of everyone who read them. Her first book, filled with stories of those whose lives had been forever changed by the work her parents had started, had become a bestseller and a beacon of light to many. Despite the success and the growing recognition of their efforts, Liam and Clara remained grounded, always seeking new ways to help, always pushing for greater change. They never stopped dreaming of what more they could do, and every challenge they overcame only made their bond stronger. They had built a world based on love, and that world would continue to evolve, just as their love had, ever-changing but always steadfast. One quiet evening, many years after the organization had started, Liam and Clara sat together on the balcony of their home, watching the stars twinkle in the sky. Their children were asleep, the house was peaceful, and for the first time in a long while, the two of them simply enjoyed the silence. Liam turned to Clara, his heart overflowing with love and pride. "We did it, didn't we? We created something that will last." Clara smiled, her eyes reflecting the wisdom and peace that came with a life well lived. "Yes, we did. But we didn't do it alone. It was the love we shared, the love we gave to others that made all of this possible. And that love will never end." Liam leaned in and kissed her forehead gently, his voice full of affection. "I will always love you, Clara. Forever and always." Clara held him close, knowing that their love had not only built a family, but had also touched the world in ways they could never have imagined. "And I will always love you," she whispered back. Together, we made a difference. As they sat together in the quiet of the night, the soft breeze carrying with it the promise of tomorrow, they knew their love had changed the world, and that was a legacy that would never fade. It was a love that had built bridges, healed hearts, and touched lives across the globe, and no matter how many years passed, it would continue to grow, forever alive in the hearts of those they had helped. In the end, their love was more than just a story. It was the beginning of something that would live on for generations, forever changing the world for the better. And as long as there was love, there would always be hope. But amidst all the public accolades and successes, Liam and Clara remained grounded in their personal lives. They had created a loving home filled with warmth and laughter, and their bond only deepened as they navigated life's ups and downs together. One evening, as they sat on the porch of their farmhouse, watching the stars twinkle above, Liam turned to Clara with a thoughtful expression. "You know," he began, "I used to think that happiness was about having wealth and power, but you've shown me that true happiness comes from something much deeper. It's about love, connection, and making a difference in the world." Clara smiled, her heart full as she leaned against him. "And you've shown me that even when life seems impossible, there's always hope," she said softly. "Together, we've created something beautiful, something that will outlast us and continue to inspire others." Their quiet moments of reflection were a reminder of why they had chosen this path. They often talked about the people they had met along the way, each one a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. One day, while visiting the farmhouse shelter, Liam and Clara encountered a young boy named Ethan. He had been through unimaginable hardships, but his eyes sparkled with curiosity and hope. Clara knelt beside him and asked about his dreams. Ethan spoke with excitement about wanting to become an engineer and build things that could help people. Liam and Clara were moved by his determination and promised to support his education. Over the years, they watched Ethan grow and thrive, eventually achieving his dream. He returned to the community as a mentor, eager to give back and help others, as Liam and Clara had helped him. Ethan's story became a symbol of what Liam and Clara's work was all about, empowering individuals to overcome adversity and reach their full potential. It was these moments, more than any awards or recognition, that brought them the greatest joy. As they grew older, Liam and Clara began to think about the future of their mission. They knew that their work was bigger than themselves and wanted to ensure that it would continue long after they were gone. They mentored a new generation of leaders, sharing their wisdom and guiding them to carry the torch forward. The farmhouse remained at the heart of their efforts, a living testament to the power of love and resilience. It became a place where people came not just for help, but also for inspiration, a reminder that even the smallest acts of kindness could spark profound change. In their final years, Liam and Clara often sat together on the porch, reminiscing about their journey. They spoke about the lives they had touched, the challenges they had overcome, and the love that had guided them through it all. One evening, as the sun set over the fields, Clara took Liam's hand and smiled. "We've lived a life worth living," she said, her voice filled with quiet contentment. Liam nodded, his eyes shining with emotion. "And it's all because of you," he replied. "You changed my life, Clara. You showed me what it means to truly live." Their love story became a legend, passed down through generations as a reminder of the power of compassion and the beauty of a life dedicated to helping others. Liam and Clara may have started their journey as two individuals from different worlds, but together they created a legacy that would inspire countless others to follow in their footsteps. And as the farmhouse stood tall, a beacon of hope and love, it was clear that their impact would be felt for generations to come. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting its warm golden light over the farmhouse, now a symbol of hope and transformation. Liam and Clara's legacy lived on, not just in the programs they had established, but in the countless lives they had touched. Their children, inspired by their parents' journey, had grown into compassionate and driven individuals. Each of them carried forward Liam and Clara's mission in their own unique way. One of their daughters, Emily, dedicated her life to advancing education in underprivileged communities, while their son Thomas became a doctor, working tirelessly to bring healthcare to those in need. As time passed, the farmhouse grew into something far greater than Liam and Clara had ever imagined. It became the heart of a sprawling community center where people from all walks of life came to seek support, inspiration, and connection. It was a place where dreams were nurtured and second chances were given. On what would have been their 50th wedding anniversary, the family gathered at the farmhouse to honor Liam and Clara's memory. Friends, neighbors, and even strangers whose lives had been changed by their work came to pay tribute. Stories were shared, laughter echoed through the air, and tears of gratitude flowed freely. One by one, people took the stage to speak about the impact Liam and Clara had on their lives. An elderly woman tearfully recounted how Liam had paid for her son's surgery when she had no hope left. A young man shared how Clara's encouragement had helped him break free from a cycle of poverty and build a successful career. The stories painted a vivid picture of a couple who had dedicated their lives to serving others. Their kindness had created ripples that spread far beyond their small community, touching lives in ways they could never have anticipated. Emily stepped forward to speak, her voice steady despite the emotion that welled up inside her. "My parents taught me that love isn't just a feeling, it's an action," she said. "It's about showing up, making sacrifices, and believing in the potential of others, even when the world sees them as broken. They showed me that the greatest wealth isn't in material things, but in the connections we make and the lives we change." As the crowd listened, a sense of unity and purpose filled the air. Liam and Clara's legacy was alive in the hearts of everyone gathered, a testament to the enduring power of love and compassion. Years turned into decades, but the story of Liam and Clara remained a source of inspiration. The farmhouse, now a historic landmark, continued to serve as a hub for community programs and events. A plaque at the entrance read, "In loving memory of Liam and Clara, two hearts that found each other and changed the world." Visitors from around the globe came to learn about their journey, drawn by the story of a millionaire who gave up everything for love, and a woman whose strength and kindness transformed not only a man, but an entire community. As generations passed, the lessons of their love story endured. It became a reminder that true wealth lies in the lives we touch, and true love is the kind that inspires us to be better, to do more, and to leave the world a little brighter than we found it. Even as the farmhouse stood empty in the quiet of the night, it was never truly silent. The whispers of Liam and Clara's love echoed in the walls, carried by the memories of those they had helped and the dreams they had ignited. Their legacy was timeless, a shining example of what it means to live a life of purpose and love. Their story, passed down through the years, became a guiding light for anyone seeking hope, reminding the world that love, when shared selflessly, has the power to change everything. As the years moved forward, Liam and Clara's bond only deepened. Their shared vision had become a reality that reached far beyond their wildest expectations. Their children, inspired by their parents' unwavering commitment to giving back, began to take their own paths toward making a difference. Emily, their eldest daughter, took on the role of managing the organization's expansion into international projects, advocating for education and healthcare in rural communities around the world. Thomas, their son, now worked closely with Clara to provide medical assistance to regions that had previously been neglected. One particularly meaningful project Thomas started was a mobile clinic that traveled to remote villages to provide free health checkups, medications, and educational seminars on healthy living. People who had never seen a doctor were suddenly receiving care, and it was all thanks to the values his parents had instilled in him. The ripple effect of their kindness continued to reverberate. It wasn't just about the programs they created, it was about the communities they had nurtured. In every town where Liam and Clara had planted seeds of hope, there were individuals who had gone on to do extraordinary things, driven by the same compassion that Liam had once lacked. Brief. On an ordinary Thursday afternoon, a young woman named Olivia visited the community center that Liam and Clara had founded years earlier. Olivia had grown up in one of the poorest neighborhoods and had found herself in and out of shelters after her mother had passed away. But when she stumbled upon the organization's website, something shifted in her heart. She saw a path forward, a place where her story didn't have to end in tragedy. She came to the center looking for help, but what she found was a community of people who embraced her, encouraged her, and believed in her potential. Through the mentorship and support she received, Olivia eventually became a counselor for other at-risk youth. It was a testament to the lasting power of the values Liam and Clara had instilled in their organization. Each person who found their way to the center was more than just a case. They were a story of transformation. During a special dinner to celebrate the annual fundraiser for the community center, Olivia stood up to speak. She had heard about Clara's unwavering faith in people, and it had inspired her to believe in herself. "Clara's vision is the reason I'm here today," Olivia said, her voice breaking with emotion. "Without her, I would still be wandering, lost, but because of her, I now have a purpose. I'm part of a legacy that's bigger than me, and I'm honored to help others the way I was helped." Clara, sitting at the head of the table, wiped away a tear, overwhelmed by the words that mirrored so many stories of gratitude she had heard over the years. Liam, too, felt a deep sense of pride, knowing their work had created a lasting impact. But there was no room for complacency. There was always more to do, more lives to change. The next morning, as Liam and Clara stood together on the porch of their farmhouse, watching the sunrise, they spoke about the future. "We've done so much, but there's still so much more to be done," Liam remarked thoughtfully. "It's easy to think that because we've achieved so much, we've reached the peak, but I know there's always another mountain to climb." Clara nodded, her smile warm and reassuring. "That's what makes life beautiful, Liam," she said. "It's about always moving forward, always finding new ways to help and uplift. The work we started is far from over, and that's what keeps our hearts full." They knew the journey they had embarked on was never meant to have an end. It was a path that would be walked by countless others, and every person who joined their mission would continue to add to the story of love, sacrifice, and transformation. As the months passed, the community center's influence only grew stronger. It became a beacon of hope for those in need, a place where broken spirits could be healed, and where dreams, no matter how impossible they seemed, could take root. Liam and Clara had set the foundation, but it was the community itself that kept it alive, thriving and expanding. The legacy they had built was not just about physical structures or resources. It was about a shift in mindset, a ripple of kindness that had touched everyone involved. Emily, with her growing leadership role, had been instrumental in pushing the center's outreach programs further, reaching countries beyond their borders. She had always felt the call to help others in faraway places, and it had been her mother's unwavering belief in the power of love that had inspired her to pursue these ambitious goals. Her work took her to Africa, South America, and Southeast Asia, where she helped bring education to children in places where the right to learn was a luxury few could afford. In the end, Liam and Clara's journey was a reminder that the most extraordinary love stories are not the ones written in fairy tales, but the ones built on trust, sacrifice, and the courage to open one's heart. Years passed, and Liam and Clara's influence grew beyond what they could have ever imagined. Their love story became an inspiration, not only for their local community but across the world. Stories of their work were shared in news articles, documentaries, and even on international stages. But at the heart of it all, their focus remained the same: to bring hope and opportunity to those who had none. Their humble beginnings were always a part of their narrative, and Clara often reminded Liam that it was their shared experiences of struggle that had built the foundation of their success. While Liam had once been consumed by his business empire, his perspective had shifted entirely. Now his greatest pride wasn't in his financial achievements, but in the lives they had touched. One day, as they were working on the blueprint for another community center, a letter arrived at their doorstep. It was handwritten, addressed to both of them, and bore the name of someone from Clara's past. Clara's hands trembled slightly as she opened it, the name stirring memories she hadn't visited in years. The letter was from a man named Samuel, who had once been a close friend of Clara's father. He wrote about how he had seen her story in the news and how proud her father would have been of all she had accomplished. Samuel also shared that he was nearing the end of his life and had something important to pass on to Clara. The next day, Liam and Clara traveled to Samuel's modest home in the countryside. The reunion was emotional, and Samuel's frailty was evident as he greeted them with a warm smile. He spoke of the days when Clara's father had worked tirelessly on their farm, always dreaming of a better future for his daughter. Samuel handed Clara a small, worn box, saying it had been left in his care years ago, with instructions to give it to her when the time was right. Inside the box was a simple locket, and when Clara opened it, she found a photograph of her younger self, with her parents, smiling in front of their old farmhouse. Tears streamed down her face as she held the locket close. Samuel shared stories of her father's dreams and sacrifices, reminding Clara of the roots that had shaped her resilience. Liam listened quietly, his respect for Clara deepening as he learned more about the challenges she had overcome. The visit left both Liam and Clara reflecting on their journey. That evening, as they sat on the porch of their home, Clara looked at Liam with a determined expression. "I want to honor my father's memory," she said. "I want to rebuild the farmhouse and turn it into something meaningful for others." Liam nodded, fully supportive of the idea. Together, they began planning a project to transform the farmhouse into a haven for families in need, a place where they could find temporary shelter and resources to rebuild their lives. The project became a labor of love, involving the entire community. When the renovated farmhouse was unveiled, it was a day of celebration and remembrance. Clara stood in front of the crowd, holding the locket close as she spoke about her father's legacy and the importance of never forgetting where one comes from. The event was attended by families who had benefited from their initiatives, each one a living testament to the impact of their work. The farmhouse became more than just a shelter. It became a symbol of hope and renewal. Families who passed through its doors found not only a place to stay, but also a sense of belonging and encouragement to move forward. Clara often visited the farmhouse, sharing meals with the residents and listening to their stories. Liam, too, found solace in the project. Despite his once buzzy lifestyle, he now cherished the quiet moments spent working with his hands, whether it was repairing a fence or planting flowers around the farmhouse. He found joy in seeing the smiles of children playing in the yard and the gratitude in the eyes of parents who were given a chance to start anew. As time went on, Clara and Liam's efforts expanded even further. They established scholarships for underprivileged children, built more community centers, and worked to create sustainable opportunities in areas that had long been neglected. Their work wasn't without challenges, but they faced each obstacle with unwavering determination and the support of one another. Through it all, their love remained the anchor that kept them grounded. Liam often reflected on how much he had changed since the day he first met Clara. The walls he had once built around his heart were now replaced by a deep sense of purpose and connection. Clara, too, found strength in their partnership, knowing that together they could achieve far more than she ever could alone. One evening, as they walked through the fields surrounding the farmhouse, Liam turned to Clara with a thoughtful expression. "You've taught me so much," he said, "about love, kindness, and what it means to truly live. I don't think I'll ever be able to repay you for that." Clara smiled, her eyes filled with warmth. "You don't need to repay me, Liam. We've built this life together, and that's enough for me." Their journey was far from over, but they knew that they had already accomplished something extraordinary. Together they had not only transformed their own lives, but also created a ripple effect that would continue to spread hope and love for generations to come. As time went on, the ripple effects of Liam and Clara's efforts became more visible. The families they had helped began finding their footing in life, with some even returning to the farmhouse as volunteers to help others. The scholarships they had provided enabled children to pursue their dreams, with many of them writing heartfelt letters to Liam and Clara, thanking them for believing in their potential. Clara and Liam often found themselves deeply moved by the stories of transformation and resilience. One young woman, Sophia, stood out among the many lives they had touched. She had been one of the first residents of the farmhouse shelter, arriving with nothing but the clothes on her back and a dream of becoming a nurse. With the support and resources provided by Liam and Clara, Sophia had managed to complete her education and was now working in the community's health center. At a fundraising gala held to support the expansion of their initiatives, Sophia was invited to share her story. Standing on the stage, she spoke with a voice full of gratitude and emotion. She described how the farmhouse had given her not just a roof over her head, but also the encouragement and tools to rebuild her life. As she looked at Liam and Clara sitting in the front row, she thanked them for their unwavering kindness and belief in her. The crowd gave Sophia a standing ovation, and Clara couldn't help but wipe away tears as she listened. Liam, too, felt a swell of pride and admiration for the young woman's courage and determination. Moments like these reminded them why they had chosen this path and reinforced their commitment to continue their work. Despite the overwhelming positivity surrounding their efforts, there were still challenges to face. Balancing their personal lives with their growing responsibilities often required sacrifices. There were late nights spent poring over budgets, difficult decisions about which projects to prioritize, and moments of exhaustion when it felt like the weight of the world was on their shoulders. However, Clara and Liam had learned to lean on each other during these times. Their love had become a source of strength and stability, allowing them to navigate the complexities of their mission without losing sight of what mattered most. They made it a point to set aside time for themselves, whether it was a quiet dinner at home or a simple walk in the fields. One such evening, as they watched the sunset from their porch, Clara turned to Liam with a thoughtful expression. "Do you ever think about what life would have been like if we hadn't met?" she asked. Liam considered her question for a moment before shaking his head. "I try not to," he replied, "because the thought of not having you in my life is something I can't bear to imagine. You've changed everything, Clara. Not just for me, but for so many others. I can't imagine a world where you're not by my side." Clara smiled, her heart full as she leaned into Liam's embrace. "I feel the same way," she said softly. "Meeting you was the beginning of something I never thought I'd have, a life filled with purpose and love." Their bond only grew stronger with each passing day, fueled by their shared dedication to making a difference. They often reflected on how far they had come, from their humble beginnings to the incredible impact they were now able to make. As their work expanded, they decided to create an organization to oversee their initiatives, ensuring that their vision would continue even beyond their lifetimes. They brought together a team of passionate individuals who shared their commitment to helping others, each one inspired by Liam and Clara's story. The organization became a beacon of hope, drawing attention from people around the world who wanted to support their mission. Donations poured in, enabling them to fund more scholarships, build additional shelters, and provide resources to underprivileged communities. Liam and Clara's dream of creating lasting change was becoming a reality, one step at a time. But amidst all the growth and success, they never lost sight of their roots. They continued to spend time at the farmhouse, connecting with the families who lived there, and reminding themselves of the humble beginnings that had shaped their journey. The farmhouse had become a sanctuary, not just for those in need, but also for Liam and Clara, a place where they could find peace and renewal. One day, as they walked through the fields hand in hand, Clara paused and looked up at Liam with a smile. "I think we've done something good here," she said. Liam nodded, his expression thoughtful. "We have," he agreed. "But it's not just about what we've done. It's about the love that's made it all possible. That's what I want people to remember. Not just the work, but the heart behind it." Clara squeezed his hand, her smile widening. "And that's what makes it all worth it," she said. Their journey was far from over, but they knew that together they could face whatever challenges lay ahead. With love as their foundation and purpose as their guide, Liam and Clara continued to build a legacy of hope, proving that even the smallest acts of kindness could create ripples of change that would last a lifetime. As the years passed, Liam and Clara's legacy of kindness and transformation only grew stronger. The organization they had founded blossomed into a global movement, inspiring people from all walks of life to take action and make a difference. New initiatives were launched, ranging from educational programs to environmental projects, all fueled by the same spirit of compassion and love that had brought Liam and Clara together. One of their proudest moments came when they inaugurated a state-of-the-art community center in the heart of a struggling neighborhood. The center provided a safe space for children to learn and play, offered vocational training for adults, and hosted support groups for families in need. Standing on the stage during the opening ceremony, Clara couldn't help but marvel at how far they had come. Liam spoke to the gathered crowd with heartfelt sincerity. He shared their journey, from the humble beginnings at the farmhouse to the sprawling network of initiatives that now bore their name. But he was quick to emphasize that their success was not about them as individuals. "This is about all of us," he said, his voice steady and warm. "It's about what we can achieve when we come together with open hearts and a shared purpose. Clara and I were just two people who dared to dream, but it's your support and belief that have made this dream a reality." The crowd erupted in applause, and Clara felt a swell of pride and gratitude as she stood beside Liam. Their work had become so much more than they had ever imagined, and the impact they were making was a testament to the power of love and determination.